Hey there, this is Dr. Renee Tucker. This video is pretty much for Bonnie, who asked a question about arthritis because her sister's horse has very painful knee arthritis, and what can she do about it was her question. So here's the thing about arthritis of any kind. The key is, why is it there in the first place? Okay, a lot of people think, well, that's just a natural degradation of the joints. You know, too much wear and tear, and it's just not working as good anymore. And, you know, give it some more joint fluid, it'll be fine. Well, the thing is, the horse's body is not confused that there's some extra bone there, some arthritis there. You know why? Because the horse put it there on purpose, for a reason. The key is, if you want to deal with arthritis and really get to the bottom of it, is you have to do a primary cause analysis and figure out why is it there in the first place. Okay, now I do realize that there are some cases where you've had some trauma and maybe there's a chip and that developed into arthritis, or sometimes there can be some infection. Whether or not you knew about it, there could be infection which would contribute to arthritis. That's different. I'm talking about the normal thing that people consider just old age arthritis. Extra bone in the joint, you get an x-ray, there's extra bone there, that's called arthritis, and everybody thinks, well, that's that. Pain medicine, joint fluid, we're done. But wait, there's more. You can actually do a lot for arthritis, okay? First thing is, fine, for that knee, what you want to do is get a normal range of motion for that horse. That means pick up the leg and bend the knee, okay? In a normal horse, the cannon bone should come all the way up and hit the forearm. That knee should bend all the way up. So find out where that range of motion is at for normal. Then you can try any treatments you want, but as long as you check the knee first, that's called the knee checkup, then you'll be able to do the after and find out if whatever treatment you decide works. Okay, that's kind of an aside. Here's the key of how do you figure out what's the primary cause. Well, mostly you need to find out, is the horse's knee misaligned? Okay, I'm trying to give you an example here with my fist, so hopefully this will work out. I know it's a little hard to see. So the joint should be pretty much straight up and down a line. So you have the top part of the knee joint and the bottom part of the knee joint, and the pressure should be pretty straight up and down. Okay, what happens when there's a misalignment? Let's just say that this bottom part of the knee joint is just a little bit crooked. Now I'm going to exaggerate for the sake of demonstrating. So if it's a little bit crooked, instead of straight up and down pressure, it's going to be crooked pressure at an angle on this joint. And over time, the body's going to say, oh, dang it, my knee pressure, it should be straight up and down, but it's going to the side. So what does it do? Builds up arthritis over here. It makes a little ledge. Maybe you've seen those x-rays. Little ledge, little spike of bone to keep it from going off the side. So most of the time, bony arthritis is there for a reason, and that reason is stabilization and support. So you want to have someone come in and check your knee range of motion and not just say, oh, it hurts, so okay, and you do need to fix the pain, that's fine, but why is it hurting? Why is the arthritis there? Because if you can just find a misaligned shoulder, maybe a misaligned elbow, misaligned the knee itself, and all the other parts of the leg too, that will straighten everything up, and the body won't need to have that extra bone there, and in fact, slowly but surely, it will reabsorb it. So, depending on the age of your horse, that does take a while. You know, it takes years to get bone buildup, and it does take quite a while to get it reabsorbed, but it will do it. Now, if your horse is painful, sometimes people say, oh, it's painful, so therefore it must be arthritis. And there is no x-ray, and I don't know whether or not you have that or not, but make sure that you actually have the joint aligned first before you assume it's x-ray. Here's why, because here's my little story. I was just goofing around, this is a long time ago, like in vet school. My friend had a Great Dane puppy, ridiculously huge dog, love those dogs. And I was goofing around with it, and so yeah, the dog tripped me, and I fell on my hands, right? No big deal, I just fell forward, landed on the carpet, I fell on my hands, I thought my wrist hurt a little bit, and yeah, it'll be fine. And it didn't bug me that much, but I realized I couldn't really move it, I'm trying to move my wrist back and forth, and it's just kind of stuck. So, I wrapped it. I iced it. I did the stuff you're supposed to do, right? Put like ace bandages all over, kept it still, let it heal. 2 weeks later, can't move the thing. It's just sort of stiff. It just won't move. Long story short, this is long before I knew anything about chiropractic or alignment or anything. Eventually, I went to a chiropractor. This is a couple years later, okay? And dude, he like pushed one little bone in my wrist, and it went clunk. Just not really out loud, but it clunked in my wrist. And then I was like, oh, what the heck? I can't move my wrist now. So I didn't know about these things back then. The horse's knee is just like our wrist. It's got a lot of little tiny bones in it. Particularly I find when horses are having trouble with their knee flexion, often the accessory carpal bone, that's the little bone that sticks off the back of the knee in the horse. It's very similar to our pisiform bone. We have a little bone right here, and you can feel it. It's a little ball. It's a pisiform. It just means P-shaped because it's a little ball, and it moves around. And if that gets jammed up on us, a lot of times we have carpal tunnel. So you can fix that yourself by going like that sometimes. But for the horse, you want to make sure you check the accessory carpal bone. That's the name of their pisiform bone in their knee. So check the knee alignment, check the whole leg alignment, find that primary cause of the arthritis. Will at the very minimum stop growing, okay, because it's just there for support and stabilization. And then it'll slowly absorb over time if it's not too terrible and if you've got enough time. Okay. Meanwhile, I don't want to have a whole story about all your different joint supports because that's like a whole nother video. But what's really good for arthritis in any kind of joint whatsoever is turmeric golden paste. So you may have heard of turmeric. That's a natural herb, and you can make turmeric golden paste by getting that and heating it up with pepper and some oil. So that's there's a whole recipe for that. But if you go to Turmeric User Group on Facebook, there's a veterinarian there, Doug English, who does all that kind of stuff, and the recipe is on that site. They have really, really great results with the turmeric golden paste for arthritis instead of joint fluid and things. Because joint fluid works fine if decreased joint fluid is the cause of the problem. That's always the case. What is the primary cause? So I hope this made sense. Please put any questions you have or any further comments in the description below, and I'll talk to you guys later.